So for me, being a hairstylist as well as a trichologist, it's like the best of both worlds. You have, in a sense, just like having a nurse and a doctor. You know, the nurse is at the bedside, just like the hairstylist. I feel like I'm at the bedside. I'm behind the chair. I get a chance to see firsthand, what exactly I'm looking over and now analyzing in that scalp. But then with trichology, just like the doctor, now I'm here to treat and heal, and help you to discover what is the root cause of your issue. Um, so to me, that's how I would equate being a hairstylist as well as a trichologist at the same time. So, guys, we changed scenery a little bit only because we're about to touch upon a particular topic. We already kind of segued with number 12, question 12, with sulfate shampoos, clarifying shampoos, and chelating shampoos. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to talk about question number 13. And this question is, what are some of the most common mistakes made when it comes to shampooing and conditioning the hair and scalp? So I think that this is a very good question, because a lot of people feel like you can't make mistakes, right? And I'm going to say most of my male clients that I have, they're trash. I'm sorry, when it comes to shampoo and conditioning their hair. I usually go through a very extensive tutorial, and I also make them take notes on their phone. I make them pull out their phone and take notes, and I'll go through it step by step with them, because they feel I'm gonna just wet my hair, throw some soap in it, swish it around, and that's it.
No conditioner.
No conditioner, right? Most of the time.
My male clients don't like conditioner.
Right, most of the time. There's no conditioner applied, right? So we go over that as well. Like, you must condition the hair. So the act of shampooing is cleansing. It's a basic hygiene practice, right? So there are sometimes, there are certain shampoos that are specific to the hair and scalp. So you have scalp conditions such as seborrheic dermatitis. There are certain shampoos or psoriasis, or certain shampoos specifically for the scalp, and they need to be applied only to the scalp.
Only to the scalp.
Right.
If you have eczema,
right?
Like you say, these conditions.
Right.
You need to apply the shampoo to the scalp.
To the scalp.
Just for these specific conditions.
The treatment area, right?
Just the treatment area, correct.
And then you have the hair shaft, So this is like, shampooing your carpet, or using fabric softener on your clothes, know. So this is when you are actually replenishing, so you're gently removing the surface buildup, right? Without affecting the integrity of the hair. So this shampoo, yes, it is going to get in your scalp, right? But if you're doing like a treatment process, right, you're going to apply it to the scalp first,
correct?
And then apply it to the hair second. And then there's a time frame associated with these treatments as well. Most of these treatments are instructed to be placed on the scalp from 3 to 5 minutes, and allow it to sit. So I would say,
if you don't mind, can I interrupt you for one moment? So it is really important for you to follow the manufacturer's directions. So here's an example. If you're using a shampoo that is targeting your eczema, something with like a steroid in it, like a ketoconazole, it's important to follow what the prescription says about not only application, but about follow through, if that makes sense. And so, please continue.
So following the manufacturer's instructions is key, or your, healthcare practitioner or whoever's giving you these instructions, they're giving you instructions based on how this product is supposed to be used, because this is how it's going to work.
Correct.
For that treatment process, right? So one of the most common mistakes is just applying soap or shampoo to the hair and then just swishing it around and rinsing it out. No, right? Then, if you're going to use conditioner, it's almost like in the same regard. You know, it's just like put on the hair and, you know, not really work through and then rinsed out.
Right.
And sometimes, like I said with timing, it's not left on for the recommended manufacturer time frame. Sometimes it should be left on a little longer, depending on circumstances and conditions of that situation, right? But I would say those two are like some of the most common mistakes that are done when shampooing the hair and conditioning the hair, right? Also, applying conditioners to the scalp that are not to be applied to the scalp. There are certain systems that says to apply the conditioner to the scalp because it's a therapy treatment.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So because of that, that should be applied to the scalp. Now, if it gets on the hair, no, it's not going to really harm the hair, but there should be an additional conditioner that is applied to the hair as well, simultaneously.
Correct.
Just like with the cleanser, simultaneously.
Correct.
So that everything is in one clean swoop. So I think those are, for me, in my experience and practice, those have been the most common mistakes through questioning. You know, when I'm asking questions on how do you do this, and I literally get to the degree of that, tell me if you sneezed in between. I want to know all of that because my point is, tell me every detail, because people will leave things out that they think is not important.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, no, that was a very important step.
Absolutely.
You know?
And we want to make sure that it's working for the customer.
Right. That's the
at
point.
all times.
That's the
That
point.
it's working for you. And without your help, we can't know whether it's working or not.
Right.
So.
Right. You need to help us help you. Right.
Yeah.
So, and I think too, I'm big on towel drying the hair before applying the conditioner. You know, I understand if you're in a shower, this may be a challenge, right? Well, maybe you can shake it out, you know, get some of that excess water off before you actually apply the conditioner. Because some water is key, you know, that helps that slip and that, you know, distribution.
Yeah.
So, but if you have excess water laying on top of the hair, which again refers to porosity once again, you know, that water may block that conditioning process. You know, so I think that is also a key point too.
You know what, I never considered whether or not towel drying, you know, is helpful. I would imagine that it is. I typically just have or instruct my customers to wring out the hair as much as possible. And I don't mean wring like a mop.
Right.
We don't want to agitate like that.
Right.
But just remove as much water as you possibly can with your hands and then apply conditioner.
Gently though, you know.
Gently,
so
right.
That's why I always say shake. Because there's no mechanical or manipulation in that process. So it's like if the hair is fragile in any way, shape, or form, it could cause breakage. And you don't know, you know, how we know by touch and feel because of practice, you know, and history and experience. They don't, you know, so sometimes it may take them time to learn that. So that could be a mistake, right? So that's why I always say shake, 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 right? Like a dog. I always say that. And get that excess water out, you know, and it kind of gets a little more out at a time sometimes, depending on the hair length, right? But if it's short hair, it's short hair. You know what I mean? You're going to do
I mean,
so
you
much,
won't be able to shake so much.
Right, so much, right? Or wring out,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, you know, slick it, smooth the slick, and then apply that conditioner. If you can, towel blot while you're in the shower, do that.
I agree.
All right. So, that was question number 13. What are some of the most common mistakes made when it comes to shampooing and conditioning the hair and scalp? All right. So, question number 14. In continuation with shampooing. How often should I shampoo?
So this is a question that it depends. It depends for me. And so I don't know the customer's lifestyle. I don't know how often they exercise. I don't know what products they're using in their hair. Here's an example. Let's say she has extremely curly hair, like moderately curly hair, or extremely curly hair. And she's using a lot of product to maintain that curl pattern, right? I'm going to recommend her shampoo more frequently than someone who just blows out the hair once a week.
Okay.
Okay? So it really just depends.
I would totally agree with you.
Yeah,
right?
Just depends, yeah.
So to expand on that exercise one, right? That point. If you're someone who exercises regularly, right, that means you're secreting sweat and oil onto the scalp surface regularly. You need to be cleansing your scalp that day.
Regularly.
Regularly. So
regularly.
every day that you sweat and secrete is a day that you should cleanse. And the reason being is because you're disrupting the scalp environment. You are now changing the pH. And these additives or elements are now catering to the yeast and bacteria that is living on the scalp surface. So now, the more you allow that to sit there, the more you cater to the buildup.
I agree with that.
You know, and inflammation. So if you're sweating, that's the day that you cleanse. Now,
and it's a myth buster, if you don't mind. It's a myth buster that you cannot shampoo every day. False. You can shampoo every single day as long as you make sure that you condition the hair well. Afterward, good to go.
Right. So as you remove, you replenish what you've taken away.
Correct.
So you're restoring.
Correct.
So yes, that's why that is a myth buster. Right. But so to the curly hair, right? Now, let's say this person is working out, right? And they are utilizing products, okay? But let's say they have like eczema, right? And it is a scalp condition. So eczema really like its nemesis is dryness, right? So moisture is really is key. So helping to counteract that dehydration or the the evaporation of moisture from the skin, you need to constantly moisturize, right? So there are times in certain situations I would advise, instead of using shampoo, literally just get out, rinse, and rub your scalp as though you are cleansing it, because that is going to help remove some of that buildup while rinsing it, right? And then condition the ends. So this way you're not totally removing all of the surface oil, but you're removing some to where that's going to aid to build up.
Correct.
Right? So
that's a great point. That's a great idea too.
Thank you.
That's
so
a great idea.
I think with curly hair that works really well because they're not constantly removing all of that oil or moisturizers that they need to help coat each curl. So rinse, condition, and then you can shampoo maybe say once a week, but if absolutely necessary, twice a week, for sure. And you're constantly, like you're saying, conditioning the hair, replenish.
You want to make sure you replenish
and restore what you've taken away.
That's it.
So I think, like you said to begin with, it all depends. It's case by case, depending on lifestyle and circumstances.
Absolutely.
That's what I would say. All right, that was question number 14. How often should I shampoo? Okay. Now, question number 15. How important is leave-in conditioner? And should I always use it every time?
Please, I'll let you go with that one.
So, it's very important, right? And yes, you should use it every single time. Because just as we just described with replenishing, this is the follow-up, right? This is like the, icing on the cake, so to speak. We shampooed, we cleansed, we reset the stage, so to speak. And then now we're replenishing with the conditioner. So now we're rebuilding our stage set, right? This right here is kind of like the curtains and the lighting. You know what I mean? It's like, or like the icing on the cake, right? Now you are re-solidifying, or adding to what you've already, and compounding what you've already added to the hair. But this is locking in and helping to counteract that evaporation. So with me, I like to always start with like a liquid, a liquid spray, or, applicator bottle, but something liquid, right? And you start with that. After you rinse your conditioner and towel blot it again, right? You start with a liquid, and then I like to follow up with a cream. That is my process. I do this with every client. Every client gets this process. We start with a liquid leave-in. I rub it in, massage it in, and I allow it to sit and absorb a little. And then I apply the cream to lock in that, to counteract the evaporation from that liquid. Now, there is a next step, right? And we're going to talk about this. It's a technique, right? And we've agreed that this is a maintenance care.
It's a maintenance care
technique.
Yes.
So we're talking about this with this, and I'm describing the steps. So in that third step, I like to use a silicone in that wet process, right? And this counteracts me really having to use anything else on the hair after I've dried it, right? But say I did not use this silicone. I like to follow it with an oil after the hair is dry. If I'm going to do like a wet set, or like a wash and go or curly style look, this is going to be done on the hair after the curls have set. And I'm not going to rub, I'm going to kind of scrunch, to break up if there's a casting on that hair. I'm going to utilize an oil last, right? Or a silicone to help lock in and seal everything that I've just given. So for me, leave-in conditioners are key. They're just as important as the shampoo and the conditioner steps in this process. So I think they're very important, and yes, they should be utilized every time.
Okay.
And they also can be used as styling aids, daily styling.
Definitely, I agree with that.
Right.
They're really great. They're really multi-purpose
Right.
tools is
Right.
what they are. Multi-purpose products, and so I agree with that too.
Okay.